Ukraine's going to win. Russia's going to lose. I know it. I'm an economist. I know how economies work. Russia is a sea of cottage industry, decentralized, join and cooperate type economics. Russia is command and control top down. Behind the theory of Ukraine, you have Mises, Hayek, you have Adam Smith, Ricardo, Milton Friedman. Behind the theory of Russia, you might have somebody like Oscar Lange, Karl Marx, and a lot of Russian economists I can't even pronounce. And I'm a Slavic speaker. So the world is a war of ideas, says Schopenhauer. And these are two competing ideas in the world right now: command and control economics versus decentralization, freedom, transparency, free movement of labor and capital. And Ukraine follows free movement of labor and capital, kind of like stone soup, if you know the metaphor of the fairy tale. Ukrainians can work in Europe. I'm in the EU. They pretty much have free visa work to come here, work, send money back. They also have capital flowing back and forth from Europe. Those are open borders, and that's how economies grow. Evidence to that is in 2022, Ukraine could produce, I think it had 7 drone factories. Now it has over 500 drone factories. Their target right now, they're targeting 4 to 5 million drones a year. And they have the capacity for 10 million drones a year. In contrast, the Russians, they're top-down command and control. They produce 700 ballistics a year. This year, 700 last year. That means the Russian economy is flatlined. It progresses at most in a linear fashion. And that's their number one priority, and they can't grow it. Now, that's analogous, again, to another metaphor where if you know the story of the chessboard, that some jester or singer or performer so pleased the king granted the person whatever they wanted. They said 1 grain of rice on a chessboard, but multiply it every single day. Of course, at the end of the 64 days, the kingdom was bankrupt because that's exponential economics. And that is the game that Ukraine plays. That is not the game that Russia plays. So there is no way with this exponential, join and cooperate, stone soup, decentralized, small is beautiful, Adam Smith, David Ricardo, versus Karl Marx, Soviet style, there's no way Ukraine is going to be stopped. And again, I give you the evidence of the drone production. It's such a exponential S-curve type increase based on cottage industry. Now, the restricting factor, let's walk that back a little bit. The restricting factor for Ukraine is always money. But I believe $7 billion is coming from Europe. I think there's money coming from the interest on frozen Russian assets. Very good, Europe. And you can say Russia's plugging into these other, banana boat republics like North Korea. Okay, but the problem is if the production line is still flat and they tend to be front-loading their usage of that, they're depleting their stocks, that will be a short play. It's not going to go away. It's going to be hard times. We all know this. I want to make the world a better place. I want this world to be better. The reality is it's going to be hard times. But right now they're front-loading that, and their stocks are depleting. They're using it as a geopolitical play card. Now, with the U.S., I keep on saying he's a very bad man. A very bad man. I don't know. That's just my First Amendment right flexing, but, subjective statement. But you know who I'm talking about. In the U.S., the rug was pulled under. First, they promised these Patriot defense against defensive civilian defense systems that Ukraine could self-produce those, and then he backed off on that. Midas Touch believes that in the 250th anniversary on July 4th, the call with the czar, dictator, despot of Russia that the president of the U.S. had, there was an agreement to pull that rug. That's him exercising his First Amendment right, not factually based on things like Reuters, etc. But what we can say is Reuters did report that Patel, the head of the FBI now, is in October going to fly to Moscow to have meetings with the, KGB, FSB people. Some will be open, but most will be behind closed doors. We'll never know what is said there. So that's another questionable move. The 400 million that was supposed to be allocated legally to Ukraine, it looks like it's going to be stretched out to the end of this guy's term in Washington. And so we have a lot of evidence that this U.S. is not part of this join and cooperate, be a good citizen for the world. But Ukraine maintains that model, and that model ultimately will triumph because innovation and the human spirit will trump command and control feudalism. Okay? I can a little bit go on against, more factual information about the US and quote who quotes it, Kiev Post or Reuters, Kiev Independent rather. But I don't think there's really a lot of need to beat that drum. We know the direction the US is going. You can say it's economic nationalism and isolationism, but I think it has a little bit of a different flavor. But that geopolitical flavor shouldn't touch Ukraine's persistent commitment to this freedom, to this cooperation, to this stone soup, to this innovation. Well, you say, the Patriots, they don't matter or they do. They do matter because right now a Russian ballistic can go at a Mach 6 plus, and you can't shoot that down with, a slingshot or some innovative technique that exists today. So is that saying that the Russian economy is several times more powerful? Not necessarily, because it's still a limited impact, even though it's a very shocking impact on Ukraine's economy. It still has all magic has limits, and all magic has, and all power has limits. So it is a problem. But Ukraine is working with its partners to try to find a solution for that. Maybe a house solution will be deployed in 2027 with European cooperation, maybe some sort of breakthrough. And a lot of people say, why can't Ukraine target the bases? First, there was that meeting supposedly with the person who provides satellite communication for Ukraine, but he kind of escaped that meeting. I just talking, metaphorically, so I don't mention too many names. I don't like to let these names echo through eternity. So Ukraine's got to find another way. And these ballistics are made deep underground. They're very hard to find and hit. And when they surface, they use these back forested roads and travel very quickly and load very quickly. Oh, by the way, North Korea's pumping some more in, loading, and you'll probably even see some North Koreans firing that. So that's tough. Another bit of news. So how do we stop that? And I think we just have to hope that Ukraine can find a way so they can preserve life. Again, it's not necessarily in the big picture a game breaker, but it is for me in the sense that all life is sacred. And we want to find the solution as rapid as possible. Now, there's also news that coming from the Telegram UK that Russia is gesturing that it may, based on U.S. intelligence, and U.S. intelligence was right about the invasion of Ukraine when all other intelligence wasn't, by planning some sort of attack on the EU, NATO, not maybe in a big ground way, but more gestures of testing, is testing the resolve and the strength of NATO. And that may come in the next, who knows, few weeks. Could be Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, or Poland. Poland's not looking for trouble. I've said this many times, but it is ready if trouble comes its way. So we'll have to see on that. Why would the Tsar of Russia do such a desperate move? Because he's gone anyway. He's dead anyway. Yeah? So his desperate move like that could be a justification that as a framing, geopolitical framing, that this is NATO versus Russia, and he can not only call up a partial mobilization, but a full mobilization, not 500,000, but 2 million men or something, or humans. And that would further beat the drum for China to, make its play of which side it's going to choose. And that would be a formidable enemy. So it's not unrealistic some provocative move could come from the Kremlin towards NATO to test its boundaries and its commitment. And we know, as I preempted this conversation with, that Washington is not even an isolationist. I think it has another framing that could be placed. And, you can look at Greg Terry or the Midas Touch or other people that will tell you that. And I'm just going to leave it as it is because I'm an economist. So the economics picture, we know, again, Ukraine keeps on hitting these logistics, but what are they hitting it with? It looks like the 4 to 5 million drones. And what will it be in another, if 2012 had 500 cottage industries and now it's 2026, my goodness, in another 4 years, in 2030, if this is extended, what will be the exponential expansion of that? Russia doesn't stand a chance. Russia never stood a chance. It seems like it stands a chance because it projects this Russia big, Russia strong, but against free market, join and cooperate, and a people, a human spirit, you can't defeat that. And I'm sorry. You can't defeat that with feudalism, with drums, and, marching. Human spirit will prevail. I believe in humanity's future. I believe we can make this world a better place. And the biggest impediment right now, even on an ecological world, global planet for the environment, is this despotic Russia. And again, my vision, my dream is that it breaks up freely into independent, transparent, small democracies cooperating with the whole world. And the world would just jump immediately to another level of elevation. We'd be able to eliminate a lot of poverty, unlock minds. We all add up to 100%. We're all equal. A lot of minds are not being actualized or given the potential to actualize, if you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And, that's a little bit what my whole channel is about, that economics applied in the correct way and understanding can just defeat empires and liberate minds. So let's wait for this. We've got to be patient. I know things are tough and it seems hard, but just take a step back, look at the numbers, think of the chessboard analogy that I said, how things expand exponentially. Think of the stone soup metaphor. Think of the fate of Gollum or any twisted, cursed, being in fairy tales and what is their fate. Think of any empire. All empires fall. All empires have their day. And think about how this world is evolving. And that will give you the answer to what's going to happen with Russia. And I know this Iran thing is, has driven up the price of oil and Russia has refilled their coffers. My projection date at the end of 2026 may be extended out. I'd have to do an add-on for that, an additional plug-in, let's say, for that modification date and revamp it. But you never know. Let's see what happens by the end of the year. Maybe we'll have a good Christmas. My name is Russia's going to lose, Ukraine's going to win. And that's the economics of it. My name is Mark Biernot. I'm a monetary economist. Have a beautiful day. Thank you very much.